The blonde kid is over there, breathing like crazy and saying that this really was the toughest challenge in this dungeon, the creature known as Cerberus, level 67. This thing's no joke. The monster starts charging up with fireball, and the whole party's getting ready to die. The little dwarf even warns them. This time, he's not sure if his skill's gonna be able to block it. But then, all of a sudden, his expression changes and he goes, "Wait, what's that over there?" What looked like a goblin was walking straight toward the dragon all by itself. Everyone's kind of thrown off, especially with a monster getting ready to attack. But that little goblin is licking a piece of wood. The guys are trying to figure out what it's even doing there. The dragon fires off the fireball, and the goblin leaps toward it, smiling. With one swing of its mace, it's like the dragon just got vaporized. The whole party's stunned, trying to understand how that thing got killed with a single attack. Not only did it die, but literally there was nothing left of the dragon except the stumps of its legs. Why would a monster be attacking another monster? Did someone summon that thing? The dwarf points up and tells them to take a look on top of the mountain. There's someone standing there. And sure enough, the kids got this weird little smile. They're all convinced he's the one who summoned that goblin. But then it cuts to our boy hauling around a sack of cement, asking where he's supposed to put it. Right away, it's obvious. Our guy works in construction. Just like you'd expect, he's weak as hell, and he sees himself as a goblin. That's because he can't get out of low-level dungeons, just like how goblins are always stuck in the beginner ones. Some people win the lottery, some are born rich, some are born good-looking. And then there's him, born to be the goblin of the human world. No talent, barely gets any experience, and his life's a total mess. Suddenly, someone next to him asks if he's ever heard of Mr. Cha. Word is this guy's been playing Gate of the Gods and hasn't shown up to work ever since. Some older dude saying it sounds like this Cha guy landed a secret class and turned his whole life around. Gate of the Gods is a virtual reality game that's been getting a ton of hype lately. The experience is insanely real. So real that people actually forget about real life while playing. Come on, artificial intelligence, bring that to me already. The tech was still brand new and cutting edge, but thanks to all the PC cafes spread around Korea, even someone broke down on his luck and totally screwed like him could play a little. And obviously, with demand inside the game being so massive, the in-game currency started gaining real value. People were throwing a ton of real-world money at items from that world. Fittingly, Gate of the Heavens became a total game changer, a game that flipped everything on its head. Our guy used to enjoy this kind of thing. Used to. Because there he is now, pulling off his ultimate move. His big finishing move is mining some rocks. He lands a solid hit and gets 3 minerals. Right away, he's got his hands on his head like, how is this even possible? His class, his talents, they're so bad that he actually loses money playing. He can't even earn enough to pay for the damn VR capsule he's renting. Where's that part of the game where he's a legendary hero, surrounded by a party full of gorgeous women, and ends up marrying one of them? The game's called Gate of the Heavens, so why the hell is he stuck in this nightmare? But everything changed the moment he found an advanced healing crystal, something worth at least 300,000 won. He gives it a big ol' lick and starts celebrating, saying that now, finally, his life is about to turn around. But while he's busy slaughtering all over it, someone calls out to him. He glances to the side, and the only thing he notices is, damn, she's really hot, and her thighs are massive. She's standing there saying he seems like a pretty skilled miner. She's seen him here every day, right? By any chance, does he have a high mining skill? Turns out, her team's stuck in this dungeon with a massive rock blocking the way. Problem is, none of them have the skills to break it. That's why she was looking for a talented miner like him. He quickly admits his skill's actually pretty low, and if they're planning on going into a dungeon safely, they'll have to take out all the monsters first. The dwarf tells him not to worry. They'll handle all that, just follow along. Our guy finds it kind of funny that a dwarf is asking him for mining help. But then the knee kisser in the group pipes up and goes, hey, just cause he's a dwarf doesn't mean he automatically knows how to mine. That's stereotyping. Our boy, though, is more lost in thought. If he joins up with this group, maybe he can pick up some decent experience and farm a few minerals on the side. The only issue is, would he actually be safe going that deep into a dungeon like this? Sure, in this game you can get revived, but there's one tiny little catch, and it's not exactly pleasant. Right at that moment, Miss Thighs grabs his arm and gives it a lick, saying she needs strong, muscular arms like his, arms that mine with real power. Of course, that was way more than enough to rattle him. Now he's standing there shaking, trying to figure out how the hell he even ended up in this situation. In front of him is a little gray wolf, level 7, not that high really, but the poor guy just can't seem to level up, no matter what. Now he's completely surrounded and about to crap himself when suddenly, just as the thing's about to bite, Miss Thighs yells for him to duck and boom, unleashes a barrage of fire that does 3,000 damage and evaporates the wolves completely. Then she comes over all sweet and bubbly, asking if he's okay, if he's hurt or anything. Catherine Lee, a level 39 mage. Flustered, he says, yeah, he's fine, thanks to her. Meanwhile, he's still stunned that she wiped out an entire pack of wolves in a single hit. She does this cute little dramatic bit, saying she got scared she might lose him by her side, so he should stick real close to her. The place is dangerous after all. And just like that, he's bright red head to toe. Finally, his chance at some romance in the game. Another guy in the group, dodging some wolves, tells him not to be surprised. Normally, they wouldn't even bother coming into an easy dungeon like this. One swing of his whip, and bam, the wolves are gone too. He explains that they're only there because of a strange kind of ore that can only be broken by people with high-level mining skills. Obviously, they all ignored that skill because it's something for idiots. All they care about is leveling up and wasting time hitting rocks. That's beneath them. That's why they needed help from someone like him. Now that didn't sit right with our boy. He's sitting there trying to figure out what the hell that guy meant by someone like him. Apparently, they all saw him as a total idiot, which couldn't be more wrong because those bastards wouldn't even get past this part if it weren't for him. So he walks up behind them and says he's not just gonna let that slide. What the idiot thinks he doesn't have any combat skills. He whips out his pickaxe and launches into action, swinging down with everything he's got, helicopter style, BM right into the rock, and of course it doesn't do a thing. Turns out he really doesn't have any combat skills. There he is in full-on Minecraft mode, mumbling that unfortunately there's nothing he can do. The dwarf wants to know if the intel was accurate. The guy tells him not to worry, he's sure that whatever's behind those rocks will be worth it. But if it's not, they're all screwed for wasting their time in this hellhole. While he's bashing away at the rocks, our boy's thinking he really is an idiot, risking his life, getting bullied, all for some spare change. But then again, that's just how jobs are, even construction work is the same. So screw it, he keeps swinging. Another boring day, more smashing, more pickaxe swings, until finally the place opens up. Behind the minerals he cleared out, there was a hidden dungeon. Everyone's in shock, he's cheering, saying there's no way they just found something secret like that. Usually hidden dungeons are packed with special rewards and can even unlock secret classes. Together, they just found the Golden Gateway. Catherine Lee, the little traitor, asks, "Hey, what do you mean we?" And right then, the guy with the whip sneaks up behind him while our boy's still smiling, thinking his life's about to change. But boom, Sin mode gets activated. He takes a hit, smacks so hard he drops 480 HP and can't even breathe. Catherine comments that it's kinda crazy they needed a trash miner like him to even find this hidden spot, but hey, it worked. She tells him not to hate them, but unfortunately, since they did all the fighting and he just broke rocks, he doesn't get to keep any of the rewards. At that moment, the protagonist realizes they knew about the hidden dungeon all along. They planned to kill him from the start. The other guy grabs him by the hair and says of course they knew, like they'd waste time with trash like him if they weren't 100% sure. And yeah, looks like he got hit again. His body's flying through the air, spinning like a rag doll. A little while later, he opens his eyes, confused. Why is he still in the dungeon? Last thing he remembers, the bastard killed him, or maybe just knocked him out cold. Were they actually more decent than he thought? Not even close. It was the advanced healing crystal. It restored his HP to full when it hit 0. The problem is, the item breaks after it's used. So right then, the 300,001 he was about to make, gone. He slams the ground, shouting, trying to figure out where his money went. But then he notices, at that exact moment, the secret door is still open, which means the dungeon isn't over yet. And there's no way in hell he's walking out of there after those bastards made him lose his crystal. He knows he won't be able to clear the dungeon himself, but damn it, he'll do whatever he can to screw them over too. They'd better be ready, because the nightmare is coming. Our boy dives in, but turns out it's a staircase, and he falls, losing 80 HP. At least he made it inside in time, and yep, no doubt about it, this is the secret dungeon. In front of him stands the Goblin Sanctuary, and he wants to know, why the hell is that smug little freak sitting on that throne with that arrogant grin? Still, he's pretty sure, if this is a goblin dungeon, it probably won't be anything too serious. He figured something secret would be way harder than this. So how is he supposed to mess with those guys if they're just dealing with easy stuff? But something feels off, it's a little too quiet. So where's everybody? Out of nowhere, he trips on something, and when he looks down, it's the dwarf, covered in blood. The poor guy hadn't logged out, and he's still asking if our boy has any kind of revival skill. That would be real generous of him. Our guy notices the dude is holding down the logout button, probably trying to camp the spawn point in hopes of scoring some rewards. Truly a greedy little dwarf. Right then, the system throws a warning. This dungeon is extremely high level, way beyond his capabilities. He should leave immediately. His expression shifts, and then he hears a scream. It sounds familiar. He turns his head and sees the whip guy getting snatched up by something that looks straight out of Attack on Titan. And Catherine Lee, she's under the monster's foot, a level 80 creature named Jiger. Their whole party's around level 30, so there's absolutely no way they can take on something like that. And then, it doesn't just bite him. The thing spins its mouth and rips with its teeth. Our boy just listens to the sound of it, completely horrified. And here comes the tragic part. Plenty of games try to add realism, but Gate of the Heavens went way beyond. It implemented full-on sensory systems. And yeah, that includes pain. There are some safety protocols when monsters deal damage, sure, but it's a whole different story when the creature's dozens of levels above you. She begs for help. He just tells her to screw off. What the hell is he supposed to do against a level 80 monster? The worst part of this pain system, if a trauma hits your brain, it doesn't go away even after your character revives. And in extreme cases, it can even lead to brain death. They call it forced retirement. Now he's slipping away quietly, whispering that he wants no part of this. This wasn't his fault, and there's no way in hell he's gonna try to be a hero. Those bastards called him in. They can die there too. He's walking away all chill, saying what really matters to him is surviving, even if it's alone. But then, a message pops up above. The Goblin Lord has sensed an unusual affinity with your cowardice and weakness. Now he's crying, snot dripping, trying to figure out what kind of cursed nonsense this is. Goblin Lord. He looks up at the statue and yells, "What's this about calling me weak and cowardly? Like hell, he wants to be like this. He didn't choose to be powerless. If he had even a shred of strength, he wouldn't be trying to run." And just like that, Catherine Lee gets crushed. Our guy used to dream of working somewhere people didn't look down on him. He wanted to fight monsters, not spend his days mining rocks like it's freaking Minecraft. Seems like his relatives vanished and left him with a mountain of debt, and ever since, he hasn't gotten a single damn thing he wanted in this life. Looking completely wrecked, he says that damn goblin shouldn't be insulting him. He didn't do anything wrong. Who the hell does this smug little goblin think he is, judging him from that throne? He's had it. He's humiliated in real life. He's humiliated in the game. Now even this piece of crap boss is laughing in his face. Fine. He lives like a goblin already. So screw it. Right then, a message pops up. You'll become an honorary goblin. A goblin will assist you any time. He had just met the conditions for unlocking a secret class. The system wants to know. Does he want to become a goblin summoner? Still snot-faced and confused, he's like, wait, what? A secret class? There's no way in hell he's accepting some cursed goblin class. It's literally the thing he hates most. But the system doesn't care. It just says his class has changed. Congratulations. Before he could even complain, that giant level 80 beast from earlier was already creeping up behind him. Now it was too late. No way he could run anymore. With no better option, he decides that since they handed him something, he might as well use it. Right away, he activates the goblin summon. He just hopes, please, for the love of everything, don't let it show up with some over-the-top flashy effect. And then it appears. This green, big-nosed goblin holding a tiny hammer. Just like our boy expected. Ugly, weak, and pathetic looking, perfect to throw away as a distraction so he can escape. He tells his lovely goblin to charge in and take down that monster. The level 80 beast lunges in to attack, and our boy's already turning around, saying it's time to run. But then the goblin deals 999,999,999 damage, plus more 9s on top, and instantly drops the monster. The face he makes when he realizes he has no clue what just happened. EXP explodes on screen and suddenly it's a level up spamfist. He even learns new skills. Feed goblin and travel with goblin. The monster's EXP gets shared and the little green guy's just scratching his head while also leveling up non-stop. Our boy is completely freaked out. How the hell did this ugly green thing manage to kill that monster? The look on his face says it all. This little freak apparently came in at max level. Cut to the real world. When that guy got bitten and the girl got stomped, she suddenly wakes up screaming in her room. A guy in a suit runs over to help and yanks off her headset. But it's too late. That kind of shock, you don't recover from it. It's what they call forced retirement. Back in the dungeon, the goblin's handing out 999s left and right. Our boy's leveling up like crazy while the green menace marches ahead. Big Nose is breaking everything in sight, and our protagonist yelling for him to chill. At this rate, you won't be able to gather all those nice little ores. Look at the name of this gremlin, Skim Chalsu. Yeah, that's why I kept calling him the protagonist, my boy, our boy. And now the guy's already hit level 31. He comments that the dungeon marked as cleared the moment his goblin took down that level 80 monster. But weirdly enough, since his whole party died, the only way he can leave is by dying too. Looks like the dungeon bug out somehow. At least the green guy's making the most of it. Not just killing everything, but mining y'all too. While the goblin hasn't gained a single level, our boy's already at 31. The only odd thing, there's no info showing up about this summon. But come on, after everything that thing just did, there's no way it's low level. Standing there, backpack on, he figures it must be a bug. And if it is a bug, then damn it, he better farm as much as possible before someone fixes it. He doesn't know what's going on. But this is the real gate of the heavens. Then the scene shifts to a bank. Someone calls out number 36 and tells our protagonist he's getting a total of 97,000. Wants to know if they can transfer it to his account. He says yeah. Turns out the game's so big now that you can literally walk into a bank and sell items to the staff. But he tells her he wants to send the money to a different account and also has a few more items to sell. He casually mentions he's selling a membrane in the heart of a Geiger, that level 80 monster. The woman freaks out, takes one look at the info, and straight up runs off, leaving him scratching his nose, confused why she bailed on him like that. Another guy comes over, offering tea, asking if he's enjoying himself. This dude, that's Nar, the bank manager. Our protagonist says the tea is freezing cold, and the guy apologizes, saying he forgot to boil it. But all our boy wants to know is who is this manager, and what does he want? He's only here to trade items for cash, that's it. But the bald guy says he believes there are better places for him to put his money, and he thinks our protagonist could make a lot more. Leaving all that in a regular bank account would be a waste. That's why he's here, to offer some investment opportunities. Our boy says he gets it, making money's important for everyone. but the manager really didn't have to show up personally to pitch him stuff. I mean, come on, he figures he probably made, what? Maybe $1 million tops. The bald guy, to his credit, is honest. He tells him, yeah, no. It looks like you have no idea how valuable the stuff you brought actually is. Turns out the heart and membranes of a Geiger are currently going for $220 million. Our boy straight up lifts the goblin in the air and shouts, 10%. This only covered 10% of my debt. Dear God, this kid owes an entire Korea to the Koreans. No way that's normal. How in the hell is 10% worth $220 million? He tries to say the goblin is adorable. Okay, not that adorable. Let's be honest. But you can't go around selling something like that and pretend it's nothing. Worst part is now he's walking through town with this weird little freak licking railings, and for whatever reason, he can't unsummon it. Naturally, everyone's staring, whispering, like, why is there a goblin walking through the city? What's going on? But hey, at least now he's not the ugliest thing walking around. That's a win. The goblin, though, just keeps yelling and yelling until suddenly he freezes. Someone goes, what the hell is that? It's a red-haired guy with a sword on his back asking why there's a monster in the city streets. Apparently, the guy's name is Patton, the annihilator. Right away, our boy knows this guy must be strong, but also wonders, who the hell gave him that title? Someone chimes in and says, he gave it to himself. That's all he needed to hear. This guy is definitely not all there. Our protagonist tries to explain that the green guy isn't actually a monster, but Patton rushes in swinging anyway, only to get blasted straight in the face with a 99,999 and smacked into a wall, passed out cold. Everyone watching? Yeah, they all saw it. The annihilator just got annihilated. Now our boy's panicking because if people figure out he summoned that goblin, the whole city's gonna come after him. Suddenly, some blue-haired guy appears, saying that Patton's embarrassing himself again as usual. He adds that the goblin isn't even worth fighting. Also, hold up, who's that archer girl with the perfect aim? Our protagonist quickly realizes this is spiraling out of control. His goblin has officially become public enemy number 1. He tries to calm them down, saying he'll take care of the creature himself. But Yunyuk, the blue-haired guy, wants to know who he is and why he's interfering. Our guy keeps pleading with them, telling them all not to gang up on the goblin. I mean, how pathetic would it be for a whole squad to go after something so simple? But of course the goblin's just had enough. He grabs a rock and launches it straight into one of Yunyuk's teammates. 999, instant death, bye-bye. And now the goblin and our boy are sprinting away. They can't stay here anymore. They thought having a max-level goblin would mean a bright future. Turns out, things aren't gonna be that easy. He's running through the city until an old guy opens a door, tells him to get in, and says he'll explain everything later. Our boy goes in, but wait, this dude has the title the Trickster. So now he's not sure if this guy's about to stab him in the back or what. Then, a system message pops up. The Goblin Lord is impressed you distracted your enemies so your goblin could land a hit. For your clever tactics, you gained goblin points. He remembers how that damn lord called him weak, vulgar, and worthless the first time they met. And now he's calling him a trickster. First of all, he didn't do anything wrong. So why the hell is he living like this? Why is everyone insulting him, even this damn goblin? It all started when those bastards added him to their party, betrayed him, and left him behind to die. So now he calls over his goblin, tells him to listen up. He's done being humiliated. He's done being called weak. From now on, they're going to destroy that guy's guild together. And honestly, he's way uglier than the goblin too. Meanwhile, up on the rooftops, that blonde chick is swaying side to side, asking if Umyuk really needs to come along just to kill that kid and his goblin. He tells her not to let her guard down. Patton might have been the weakest of them all, but he still got taken out with a single hit. There's definitely something off about that goblin. Right then, they hear a scream. The guy who tried to sneak up on our boy earlier suddenly drops dead right beside them. Before Umyuk can say anything, the goblin is already at his side. He managed to react after all and went in for an attack, but it looks like the strike did 0 damage. That's when he remembers his friend getting hit with 99,999, and now he's sure this isn't some kind of bug. And now the goblin's closing in and he knows if he gets hit, he's done for. But Ji-Yin lets off a quick arrow just in time and manages to parry the attack. She yells at him to stop freaking out and getting himself killed by a goblin. That be beyond embarrassing. Yumyuk thinks to himself, of course it would. Everyone knows goblins are weak creatures. So how is this dumb little thing dealing millions in damage? He doesn't know what kind of trick that kid pulled, but he activates a skill called Extreme Wrath. It makes him 90% slower, but guarantees every attack will land as a critical hit. Ji-Yeon asks why he's going that far. It's just a goblin. He tells her to relax. It's only a passive skill, and it doesn't cost much anyway. Then he switches styles, drawing twin daggers. This one boosts damage but reduces critical hit chance. He starts setting up his combo, telling her to get ready. She agrees but says they should hurry up and end it. They can't let people see them using this much firepower on a goblin. She fires a rain of arrows while he charges in fully buff and ready. He calls out that the fun's over. The goblin's finished. He lands a clean strike, and it deals nothing. 0 damage. He freezes, confused. The goblin turns to look at him, and the next thing he knows, he's slammed into the wall with the same overwhelming force. From the shadows, our protagonist steps out and asks who said this would be over in one hit. The blonde girl looks shocked, trying to understand what this thing is. He tells her plainly, it's the goblin he summoned. She stares at him, stunned, asking how a goblin could have this kind of power. Yuyuk, supposedly one of the strongest in the Avilton Guild, steps forward. He tells her that's not her business right now. What matters is that he's angry. She asks what they even did to him, and he responds that it's her fault for being too irresistible. She stares, completely thrown off, and tells the pervert to back off. He waves it off, saying that's not what he meant. He's mad because they attacked him first, and now she's going to pay for it. She screams for help, calling him a creep. He realizes quickly that this situation is headed in the worst possible direction. He turns to the goblin and tells him to make her stop shouting. But at that moment, a few adventurers down the street call out, asking if anyone else hears yelling. One of them points up, recognizing him. Hey, isn't that the guy from earlier? The one with the goblin. Our boy looks around and realizes everyone's watching. It's time to get out of there. But the problem is, instead of silencing her in some clean way, the goblin's just standing there awkwardly, covering her mouth. The whole scene looks terrible. People immediately start shouting that the kid's using his goblin to kill members of the Avilton Guild, and now he's trying to attack a helpless girl. He's standing there, face completely blank, already knowing this is bad, really bad, and his name is already not looking too great on this server. He tells the goblin to stop and let the girl go. Strangely enough, the crowd doesn't seem to connect that he's the one who summoned the goblin. They actually think he's protecting her, bravely stepping up to face the creature that wiped out half a guild. The goblin backs off, and the blonde girl's left there sobbing, right next to our protagonist, who already realizes his life's over. No way he's getting out of this clean. The people down below start cheering for him, telling him not to give up now. They say he's the only one who can save her, and then he has to keep fighting bravely. The protagonist trying to figure out why everyone's suddenly cheering for him. That's when it hits him. These people didn't realize he was the one who summoned the goblin. Back when the goblin killed the first guy, he stepped forward and said he'd handle the creature and that nobody needed to worry. Then when the blonde girl was in danger, he jumped in again, saying it was all over now. In their eyes, he was a hero, risking his life to save a woman. Or better yet, saving her from a monster, which in this case was the little green guy. The only flaw in this heroic image, that blonde girl. And he's thinking, there's no way she wants to die in agony like her guildmates. So she better stay real quiet about him and that goblin. She just nods and promises she won't tell anyone. Then our boy calls out to the goblin and says how bold he is invading this peaceful town even though he's just a lowly monster. He says the suffering he's brought ends now. At that moment, he activates the goblin walk skill. A glowing chain appears and yanks the goblin down to ground level. He slams into the floor and our protagonist immediately starts running, dragging the goblin with him. Everyone watching is stunned. What kind of skill was that? A chain that could restrain a creature that had been slaughtering high-level players? But in reality, the skill doesn't do anything fancy. It literally just lets him walk around with a goblin, nothing else. The only thing it actually does is improve the goblin's mood. He gets a little happier when it's active. The blonde's watching from above, and the others assume that for him to be handling a creature this strong, he must be over level 50 at least. Our boy knows he can't exactly fake killing the goblin, so he switches tactics. He uses the feed goblin skill, throws his sausage way off into the distance, and tells the goblin to go fetch. Then he yells for the townspeople to close the gates. With the goblin locked outside, everyone inside hesitates, not sure if it's finally over. But he wipes his forehead, turns to them, and asks if everyone in the city is safe now. The townspeople cheer and he finally relaxes. Problem 1, handled. Then she shows up, the blonde, telling him all her guildmates were killed and respawned back at the starting zone. She's the only one who knows about his connection to that goblin. He glances back at her, and she's giving him this sweet, sincere look, swearing again she won't say a word. But he's not looking to take chances. He warns her. In the respawn zone, everyone's got infinite lives and is protected from players and monsters. But the moment you betray me, that's the only place you'll be able to live, because I'll kill you no matter where else you go. She's already crying, swearing she won't do anything. And with that, he's back home thinking to himself, this isn't exactly what he had in mind. He looks at this ridiculous goblin drawing and mutters that getting rewarded with a nice room for doing something good kinda makes him proud of his talents. Thinking back to that girl from earlier, he sighs and says it's a shame he didn't have the power to save her. She was, in his words, pretty hot. He gets up, remembering he earned that goblin point earlier. I'll start calling him by the name this system uses, Skim, since clearly no one's ever bothered to call him by his actual name anyway. He figures this point must work like a class point, and when he checks, he sees a goblin skill shop open. All the abilities are locked except one. So he buys it. The moment he uses it, the goblin appears right in his face and gives him a headbutt with that giant nose. That's when he realizes this first skill is more of a summon recall. It doesn't exactly summon the goblin from scratch, just pulls it closer when it's far away. The issue now, the goblin was supposed to be outside the city, not sitting in his room. People outside start knocking on the door asking if he's okay. He tells them he's fine, no need to worry. Then he turns to the goblin and says, hey, calm down, put that weapon away, and don't hit anyone. Sometime later, our boy says the goblin didn't really do anything wrong. Everyone's been treating him like trash, attacking him for no reason. The truth is, the two of them, they're exactly the same. But why the hell is he sleeping all cuddled up with his goblin? What kind of cursed situation is this? He mutters that this world really is full of people worse than any monster. Then the scene cuts to a pub. Someone greets yesterday's bastard, and when our protagonist walks in, the whole place greets him like a hero, the one who saved members of the Avilton Guild. Yumiuk tells him there was no reason to help, especially after he made it clear they were enemies, but still he's grateful. The guy in the hood behind them tells the blonde to calm down. He doesn't think the kid ever intended to fight, but she's shaking, terrified that Goblin might show up any second. Skim then says that, as they probably figured, he helped them even after they ignored him, because he needs something. The hooded guy replies that no matter what he wants, he should go ahead and ask. They can't just let a gesture like that slide from someone who saved one of their own. Skim explains that no matter how much he farms, he can't level up in the beginner's zone anymore. He's past level 30. He's heading for the next area, and he needs their help. Yumiuk asks if he's talking about Florindel. He knows someone perfect for that. Right then, an old guy at the table next to them chimes in, saying he's that person. And the look on Skim's face says it all. That's the same guy who stabbed him in the back. The guy tries to cover his name tag so Skim won't read it, but Skim already knows and demands to know what the hell he's doing here. The old guy tries to defuse it, saying it was all a misunderstanding. Now that he's heard Skim supposedly defeated that goblin alone, he's sure he's a lot stronger than he thought. Maybe even stronger than everyone else in that room. Most of them are level 28, but there's one guy in the corner. Skim's sure if that guy came at him, he wouldn't survive. The old guy starts explaining. In beginner zones like this one, there are 5 dungeons, like the grassland area with slimes, the mines, a forest, and so on. Places where players can go grind and level up. But if he wants to leave the Lev region, he has to clear a raid dungeon. Unlike the open dungeons, raid ones have timed gates. They only open and close at specific hours. Plus, they have a cap on how many people can go in and a limited number of attempts. Since they're the final challenge before advancing to the next region, most people prefer to grind and hit max level before entering. Yumiuk stands up and explains that the Lev Raid dungeon only opens once a month, and that's why they were all gathering at the pub the night before. Skim asks if this means what he's thinking, and the guy confirms it. That damn goblin completely ruined their plan, and now they're all stuck in Lev for the next month. Everyone turns to glare at Skim. If they're stuck, so is he. He made over $200,000 from that level 80 monster. His goblin is easily one of the strongest things in the game. But he's trapped here, doing nothing. Skim grabs Yumiuk and tells him to quit messing around. There has to be a way out. He can't afford to waste his precious time. But Yumiuk just shrugs and says everyone's already annoyed they're wasting time, and besides, he paid his debt by giving Skim that one tip. So that's it. He's out. The others leave, one by one. The blonde girl lingers for a moment, glancing at Skim, and then walks off, hips swaying. While everyone's heading out, guess who's still standing there? The goblin, just staring. Skim stares back. What's up with you? Big nose. Suddenly, the goblin seems confused, like he senses something coming from the forest. And just like that, a raid boss portal opens out of nowhere. A system message goes out to everyone, and no one has any idea how this is even possible. Yumiuk and Skim both have the exact same thought. What the hell is going on? Guys, I think this is the series with the longest chapters I've ever seen. I've only read 4 so far. What the hell? Patton, the redhead, is spooked that the thing actually showed up in just one day. Now everyone's gathered in front of the portal, and Yumiuk wants to know how many people have already gone in. The shady old guy says no one. That's because everyone who could enter already went through yesterday. That's both a good and a bad thing, because it means they'll be the only ones going through it now. Right then, our boy shows up, saying he knew it. They lied to him. They all told him he'd have to wait a month, just to betray him and leave him behind. He admits he was an idiot for trusting people just as messed up as he is, especially after everything he's been through. The blonde's panicking, insisting they didn't lie. This really is how things usually go. It's just that this time something was different. He looked ready to start a fight, but Yumiuk just says, yeah, something changed. Then he asks, so are you coming or not? Skim says of course he's coming. Like hell he's just gonna sit around while they walk off with all the loot. Yumiuk thanks him but says there's something he needs to explain first. According to the info they got, they'll be facing the raid boss known as Reverend. That means the second they enter, they'll come face to face with it. Everyone's still pretty confident though because it's a boss slightly below their current level. So maybe they got this. Patton says their guild leader might not be around, but the rest of them are more than enough. They all jump in together, saying it'll be over in 10 seconds. Yumiuk steps forward and calls the rest of the guild to follow. Skim turns to the goblin hiding behind a crate and tells him to stay hidden. It'd be a real problem if people found out they were working together. But no worries. This time he's keeping his eyes open. He won't be betrayed again like he was by that other girl. Oh, and look at that. He already bought another advanced healing crystal. Enough playing around. He sprints through the portal and enters the dungeon. Right as he steps inside, he finds himself face to face with a massive steel boss level 40, and everyone's running around in total panic. Something's off. This isn't what they were supposed to walk into. Yumyuk turns and demands that the old guy explain what the hell is going on. The guy claims he has no idea why things changed. Jigen calls out to Kim Cholsu, "Yeah, we finally learn our boy's real name," and tells him to run for the exit. But he turns and asks if she's kidding. Why is everyone trying to bail from a secret dungeon? Don't they know the kind of rewards a place like this offers? The others say yeah, they know, but the boss is level 40. There's zero chance they'll survive. Our boy tells them all to calm down. It's just a 10-level difference. That's nothing. Nobody's gonna be forced into retirement just because of a gap like that. Worst case, they spit up a little blood and wake up a few days later all beat up. Totally worth the risk. But clearly, no one agrees. They're already running for the exit. Skim doesn't waste time. He activates the rally skill to pull the goblin into the dungeon with him. But nothing happens. For some reason, it doesn't work. And the boss is charging straight at him. He keeps calling out to the goblin, panicked. Then suddenly, he gets hit with 4,800 damage and drops. Patton stares in disbelief, wondering how this idiot ever managed to beat that goblin. Yumyuk admits he has no idea either. But right now, the only thing that matters is the portal's closed. Which is weird. Normally only raid gates close that quickly. The old guy speaks up, saying everyone underestimated the situation. A raid, no matter how unlikely, can also become a secret dungeon, which means they weren't just fighting a normal raid boss. They were up against the boss of a secret raid dungeon. And now, they've got no choice but to fight. Kim, who's passed out, starts coughing up blood. This game is brutal. The pain from dying to a boss 10 levels above his own was way worse than he expected. And to make it worse, he completely forgot to spend his statue points. He just assumed the goblin would handle everything. The problem is he can't summon the goblin because the portal closed. He just can't believe he's about to miss out on such an amazing chance to rake in all those rewards. Yumyuk, on the other hand, is hyped. He calls everyone over and tells them it's time to start the hunt. Kim's standing close, quietly watching and listening to everything. Then Jian drops a buff on everyone, boosting their speed across the board. The old guy's off to the side, telling everyone to keep up the attack sequence and try to figure out the boss's weaknesses. With the buffs they were getting from GM, there was no way they'd lose. The protagonist wonders why that guy won't just shut up and fight instead of standing there giving speeches. Two of the Vanguard members leap at the boss's leg and launch themselves toward its head. Yumyuk uses a skill called Shadow Slash and Patton follows with his Chain Cut. They explain that every monster has at least one weak spot, and Chain Cut it's 16 different points, so it's basically guaranteed to find it. Yumyuk asks if he found it, but Patton replies that, unfortunately, all his hits dealt 0 damage. That's when Yumyuk says there are only 2 possible explanations. Either the defense is insanely high, or, before he can finish, the boss swings down with a heavy hit, Levi style, and lands 1,800 damage right on Yumyuk's head. So yeah, that rules out the first option. The boss has 28,000 HP. Not that bad, honestly. Just land a few solid hits, and that's that. The second explanation is that the boss has a passive skill called Hatred of the Weak. Any attack that deals less than 5% of its total HP gets nullified completely. Patton mutters that they're screwed. Yumyuk's the only one strong enough to break that 5% threshold against a level 40 boss. But the old guy disagrees. He says Yumyuk isn't the only one with a top-tier skill. There's someone else who can trigger a finishing move under the right conditions. That's when she steps up, charging up Deathbringer's arrow. She sacrifices HP to draw in energy. The more she gives up, the more damage the shot will do. Patton yells that if she needs time, he'll buy it for her. He shouts a battle cry, taunting all the surrounding monsters. In his mind, the raid boss comes straight for him. And Kim thinks, this guy is nuts. He should be running for his life and not trying to tank this thing. The boss hits him head on. He takes 1,000 damage, but he actually tanked it. Kim wants to cheer, but the old guy warns him not to let his guard down. If they want this plan to work, they can't afford a single mistake. Turns out Patton had used a damage-sharing skill, and the old guy took a small hit too. Still, Kim looks at this ragtag group and thinks, these guys are actually putting in work. He realizes they're all low-level and don't have any secret classes, and yet they're holding their own like pros. Yumyuk's laser-focused, shouting that while the 2 warriors keep the boss distracted, he and the assassin squad will use defense reduction to weaken it. Kim starts wondering how a bunch of so-called average players can be this strong. Maybe this is what guild power really looks like. At this pace, they're actually going to kill the boss. And meanwhile, he's lying there dead, not earning a single reward. Luckily, he's still holding that healing crystal in his hand. Patton's standing his ground when suddenly the boss hesitates for a second. Patton asks what's going on. The monsters switch targets. And look who just stood up. Kim mutters that he can't take watching this group of losers flail around anymore. He's gonna step in, since he's the highest level player here. Took him long enough, but the protagonist has officially entered the fight. But right as he says that, the boss unleashes a massive area of effect attack, wiping out 4 party members instantly. Everyone immediately starts asking the same thing. Why the hell did this guy take so long to wake up? The assassin squad that was helping got launched clear across the battlefield. One of them lands right in front of Patton. Patton screams, demanding to know how that bastard could let his teammates get hurt like that. The bald guy tells him to stay calm and keep his focus on the monster. Now's not the time to lose it, but Patton was reckless. He went straight for his big ultimate slash. All he got in return was a massive hit from the boss that dealt 3,800 damage, knocked him straight into the ground, and still left 2,400 damage left over for the old guy. And with that, Patton was dead for real. The old guy shouts that our protagonist ruined the entire plan, but Skim yells back that he had nothing to do with it. Uniak, however, explains Patton's war cry pulled the boss's attention. That skill forces the monster to stop targeting healers and support classes. But the moment Kin reappeared on the battlefield, it reset the boss's aggro, and now the monster started targeting everyone again. The assassins nearby didn't even have a chance to react. Meanwhile, Ji-Yun's still mid-cast, trying to figure out what to do. She's been charging this skill this whole time, but she's already down to 46% HP. Uniak tells her to stay calm. If she fires too early, they'll lose their only shot at victory. The problem is, they were trying to stack marks on the boss's weak point, but they needed 5 and only got 3. So Uniak decides he'll handle it. He tells her not to cancel that skill, no matter what happens. She's standing there, barely holding on, pulling back the bow while her health drains away. Kim quietly steps up beside her, wondering how he could help his friend. But before he can do anything, she snaps. She tells him he's useless without that goblin, so he better not do anything or he'll just make things worse. And now he's just standing there, completely crushed, trying to figure out why he's being treated like garbage, just because he didn't bring the goblin. It's their fault he couldn't summon it. They're the ones who blocked him out of the portal. He stares at the ground, gritting his teeth, thinking, how the hell is he the one being treated like this when he's their only real chance of winning? Fine, if that's how they want it, they can all go down in flames without him. And just as Yoonhee predicted, the boss switches targets and starts charging toward Ji-Yun as she's still casting her ability. He knew it would go for the archer first, so he strikes, lands 1,920 damage using his twin blade skill. The boss keeps charging. He slams into a wall, pushes back off, and jumps in with another hit minus 1,912. He knows that if he becomes the one dealing the most damage, he'll draw the boss's full attention. And finally, the boss turns. Now Kim has officially become the target. Even though the boss only has 3 weak points, that should be enough to buy time for Ji-Yun's skill to go off. He activates Rapid Evasion, which should make him immune to physical attacks for 3 seconds. Or at least, that's what should have happened. Turns out, he didn't have enough mana. And right then, he gets hit clean in the chest. Except, Yumiok steps in the way and drops dead right in front of him. Kim stares, completely stunned, and then starts going off, yelling that the so-called genius who had everything under control just died like a moron with 0 mana. Ji-Yun, though, blames him, saying the moment he got revived, he threw off the whole plan. Kim glares and asks, wait, are you saying you would have won if I'd stayed dead? And she says probably yeah, another 10 seconds might have been enough. He just stands there thinking, I was this close to helping, but forget it. Now I hope none of them get a single reward. The boss is still charging toward them, but Ji-Yun's the one it's locked onto. She finally says enough. She's tired of everyone pointing fingers. Even if she's not completely ready, she's got one shot. But beside her, she hears something weird. Kim's chuckling to himself. She turns, asks what he's doing. He smiles and says, quick question, can you not move while you're casting? Now she's fully alarmed, asking what he's thinking. She tells him to stay away from her, but it's too late. He throws her legs over his shoulder and takes off running. The boss swings, slams the ground, but they dodge off to the side just in time. She's freaking out, asking how he's almost as fast as Yuhyuk. Well, obviously, right? The guy dumped all the stat points he earned, 26 of them, into agility. Not even a brain-dead assassin would have done that. And the second part of his plan worked too, because he acted like a complete jerk, let everyone die and wreck the whole strategy. He earned a goblin point. That's how his talent works. He has to act like a total menace to earn those points. Now he's hauling her around on his shoulder like she weighs nothing. He tells her to fire the damn arrow already, but she says it's hard to aim while moving at that speed. He tells her he doesn't care, she better not miss, because they're gonna pay for everything he went through. That pain, that expensive healing crystal, someone's paying for that. The kid's spinning around the boss like a damn Beyblade. The boss is swinging wildly, attacking in all directions. But her skill seems to be fully charged now. She's down to 1% HP. He tells her this is it, end it. At the same time, the boss activates an area-wide skill, World Shatter, sending debris flying everywhere. Now they're both screwed. Kim's about to get crushed, and with her sitting at 1%, even the tiniest pebble means instant death. She tells him she can't get a clear shot. Too much debris in the way, her aim's off. He tells her not to worry. He's seeing visions. She asks if it's part of a plan. He says no. It's just his life flashing before his eyes because, yeah, they're definitely about to die. But just then, a rift opens. And guess who arrives, dealing 999 on impact. Kim's first instinct is to punch the little freak for showing up so late. But then he realizes something weird. He's the only one seeing this. Ji-Yun hasn't reacted at all. So he activates Goblin's shield, throwing the green menace straight into the chaos to tank everything. The boss roars, but from between his thighs, the goblin mutters, such pungent words for someone about to die. Shame. really. But now the trio was complete. 22,524 damage. The arrow pierces the boss's chest. It falls to the ground. Secret dungeon, Steel Giant's chamber, cleared. Ji-Yun's in shock. They actually beat it. She jumps from level 27 to 31. Our boy, from 31 to 34. But being the greedy little goblin in human form that he is, he immediately runs forward, desperate to know what the reward is this time. Though according to a few side comments, the real reward was probably getting crushed by those thighs. Next scene, Yoon-hyuk appears, along with a system message saying all allies have been revived after clearing the dungeon. Hugh says he's alive, but there's blood in his mouth. If that boss had been even a bit stronger, things would have ended badly. But something's off. The old guy's completely frozen, not even breathing. Yoon-hyuk says that's not the biggest problem right now. He turns and immediately demands an explanation from Kim. The goblin, meanwhile, is standing guard over all the gear, shouting at everyone to stay back. It's all his. Someone asks why the goblin's acting like that. Ji-Yun says he's always been weird. The second the boss was defeated, the little green guy bolted for the loot pile like a maniac. But both she and Kim got a strange message. They hadn't met the conditions to unlock the secret class. Ji-Yun's confused. How's that possible? They literally killed everything. Kim starts thinking back. Maybe it's something weird again, like when he earned the Goblin Lord's favor. Sure, most of the time things follow a basic logic. Kill boss, unlock class. But clearly not this time. That's why he's wondering, what is the class tied to this room? Still, now's not the time to think about that. First things first, he wants to know what items dropped. Ji-Yen, however, tells him to wait. Everyone helped in the fight. They should split the loot evenly. He immediately tells her to back off. That pile is his treasure. She's now staring at him, asking what's wrong with him, and already thinking, is this guy turning into Gollum? Then Yoon-hyuk says himself, it's true. The kid already helped them twice. Their only goal was to get out of that place, and now that they did, they don't really care about anything else. But that shady old guy, yeah, he was already sneaking up, ready to smack our boy from behind. So Skim tells him to back off, already knowing they've been planning to betray him again from the start. Yoon-hyuk says taking him out isn't even the real problem. If that's what they wanted, they would have done it already. They don't care about him keeping most of the loot, but they did notice that the bow was a unique item. Skim shrugs. Yeah, so. They tell him he's not even an archer. What's he gonna do with that thing? And besides, unique items can't be sold. Obviously, he can't equip it either since it's not his class. But our favorite pointy-nosed goblin pipes up like, I still want it. It's super cool, super pretty, super rare. The others immediately tell him to just hand it over to Ji-Yen. Skim sighs and says fine, but he wants something in return. It's an item he can't sell, which means its value can't even be measured. If he were to bind it to himself, they'd lose out big time. So yeah, they better buy it from him. The old guy instantly realizes this sneaky bastard had planned this from the beginning. He's literally smiling in his own greed. And Yoon-hyuk's looking at him like, this damn guy reminds me of that goblin. And speaking of, there's the goblin peeking from behind a barrel staring at the massive bow. It really is huge, isn't it? That's the giant's bow, and it's massive. Looks like they made the trade. Skim thanks them. Yoon-hyuk just mutters that the guy clearly has a natural talent for being hated, then asks where he plans to go after they leave. Skim says that's obvious. Someplace far away from them. Yoon-hyuk calls him a bastard, but admits it's a solid plan. And with that, the group leaves. Too bad, really just look at that gorgeous blonde giving our boy a little goodbye wave. He doesn't waste any time. He's already summoned his goblin again, who's hopping around all excited. Dungeon cleared. Too bad he ended up with a bow he can't use, but he did get the thief's glove. It lets you steal anything, but only once. You can't use it on players higher level than you, and it doesn't work on other users either. How will he use that? No clue yet. But more importantly, he got some ultra-pure iron and a bunch of rare materials, all saved just for him. Scene cuts to the city of Florendal, a place packed with high-level players he's never even seen before. He can practically smell the money in the air. But before diving into some grand adventure, he needs to get some gear. That one hit to the face that one-shot him made it very clear. He's not well equipped. Not to mention he's still wearing the same stinky gear from level 3. The thing's probably draining his defense at this point. Suddenly, the goblin starts tugging at his pants. He asks what's up, already begging him not to cause trouble. But then he turns around and sees it, a giant tiger, right behind them. Our boy's brain goes into panic mode. That has to be a raid boss. What the hell is it doing in the middle of the city? And just as he's freaking out, a new arrival shows up. Forget Ji-Yen. Irene is in the building. Blue-haired summoner. She glances at the goblin and casually asks if that one belongs to him. And Skim instantly realizes she's the lunatic who summoned the oversized death cat staring them down. She tells him not to worry. Michelle, yes, the tiger, is super chill. But Skim can see it in her eyes. This psycho is drooling while staring at him like a snack. And he knows he absolutely does not have what it takes to fight her. If the Evilton Guild even tried going up against her, they'd be vaporized. Then Iron gives him a sweet little smile and says he's a cute kid. Asks for his name. He answers, Skim Chalsu. Then she says she's not interested in him. What she really wants to know about is the little one standing next to him. Apparently, the goblin still didn't even have a name. Kim asks, what for? It's just a summoned monster, who cares? Besides, that thing isn't even cute. But Iron warns him. One-sided relationships like that are unstable. He should have realized by now that the creature shows aggression toward its master because it hasn't been named. She tells him she hopes that next time they meet, he won't be so stubborn. Then she calls for Michelle and walks off. Kim would love nothing more than to wipe the floor with that girl, but he can't, so all he does is thank her for the advice. The scene shifts. Someone calls out to him. Turns out the gear he's wearing is complete garbage. The guy says he might as well be wearing a trash can around his body. It'd be more useful. Kim fires back, "Hey, you damn jerk, stop roasting me, you bastard. That's why I came to your shop in the first place, to buy something decent." The guy offers him a chest plate for 350 coins. That's around 40 bucks in real-world money, which, considering he's 20 million in debt, isn't all that much. And as a summoner, he does need top-tier defense. Doesn't matter if he can summon stuff if he dies before he gets the chance. He buys it. The vendor tells him he's got a good eye for quality, says he better make good use of it. He made that thing with premium-grade materials. The name of this foul-mouthed vendor is Humphrey the Dirty Mouth, and Kim can already tell the guy lives up to it. He puts on the armor and immediately complains. "This is the biggest piece of crap I've ever worn. I can't even move." The guy shoots back. "That's because trash like you should stay stiff and die early." But the real reason? The armor requires 24 strength, and our boy only has 4 at the moment. He used up all his points during that steel giant fight. There's no way he can equip anything serious right now, so he tries to sell it back. The vendor just scoffs. "That junk is trash. I'll give you 30 coins, tops. Shoddy craftsmanship like this isn't worth a damn." Kim tells him to get lost. He literally bought it from him 2 seconds ago, and the guy was hyping it up like it was a masterpiece. Right in the middle of the argument, Kim notices an exclamation mark floating above the guy's head. Then Humphrey turns to him and says he lost his hammer. Without it, he can't forge a single thing. Kim tells him to take a look at the counter. He sees at least 4 hammers right there. But Humphrey insists. He needs one specific hammer, and it's probably down in a water dungeon near the entrance of the village. He says it'd be real helpful if Kim went to find it. Obviously, that triggers a quest. The reward, the ability to process materials and craft armor, which sounded very useful. Now it all made sense why those materials Kim sold earlier were worth so much. If he could take the rare stuff from that secret dungeon and turn it into gear, yeah, that'd be real profitable. He instantly says he's on it. Quest accepted. Kim's confident. He doesn't need any party or friends, it's just him and his goblin. This dungeon, piece of cake. Give it 30 minutes and he'd have it all wrapped up. But then Humphrey yells, "What the hell do you think you're doing? You need to bring me with you." Apparently, for the quest to succeed, he had to take the old geezer with him and make sure he didn't die. Problem is, the guy's only level 13. So Kim comes up with a shitty idea. He's got a ton of agility points, so he sprints off ahead, yelling, "I'll just clear the whole thing before Gramps even gets close to danger." But almost immediately, a system alert pops up. Humphrey is under attack. Kim turns around, and there's a swarm of rats and slimes all over the old guy, who's screaming for help. He calls for the goblin, and that little green menace drops in, one-shotting everything within 999. Humphrey straightens up and declares, "No one can stand against me, Humphrey the Dirty Mouth." But then his face suddenly changes. He says he's sensing something strange. He starts running off in another direction, saying the hammer's over there. Kim's already thinking it might just be easier to kill this bastard or find some way to immobilize him. Obviously, that would fail the quest, so he tells the goblin there's been a change of plans. Stick to this guy like glue and kill anything that comes near him. Problem is, in 10 seconds flat, that damn old guy is already surrounded by a swarm of rats. Then again, not that big a problem. The goblin's already charging ahead, landing those 999s left and right. The old guy's feeling himself, shouting about some secret technique and saying this is what happens when he goes all in. Meanwhile, Kim just thinks this guy's a total weirdo, but hey, at least he's safe. So far, so good. Then Humphrey yells for him to stop underestimating him. He activates his battle cry, claiming he's about to show what he's really made of. The skill pulls in all nearby enemies, and next thing you know, some crowned skeleton wakes up in a tomb along the whole army. Right then, the damn thing's standing in front of them, demanding to know who shouted and woke him from his eternal slumber. Humphrey just says, "Finally, this dungeon's starting to get interesting." Kim, on the other hand, is wondering why this guy is clearly trying to make the mission harder with every step. But there goes the goblin again, tosses a rock in the air, catches it, and hurls it straight at the skeletons. It bounces off the wall and lands a full 999 across the board, clears the whole path. 3 hours later, our boy's exhausted. And from the looks of it, that damn blacksmith is still trolling him nonstop. They killed so many mobs, Kim's leveled up 3 times. He's leaning on a wall, hears a strange noise, and Humphrey tells him to back off. It's a trap. At the end of the hall, 3 golden arrows are flying their way. Kim calls the goblin to tank the hits. He's wondering why this trap even activated. What did they step on? What triggered it? Of course, Humphrey had stepped right on a skull switch. Got an arrow straight to the gut, and now he's down to half HP. He even yells at Kim, calling him a coward for using allies instead of taking the hit himself. Kim honestly wants to kill this bastard on the spot. To make things worse, the guy's now poisoned. He starts losing HP every second until, yep, Humphrey the dirty mouth dies. Cut to Kim sprinting through the city, shouting that he's gonna kill that bastard next time he sees him. But while he's blazing through the streets, a man in a suit calls out to him, saying he finally found Mr. Skim. Our boy arrives at Humphrey's shop, and the blacksmith just asks what gear he wants. Kim, fuming, points at the goblin and asks, "Any last words?" The blacksmith just thanks him for retrieving the hammer. Kim's confused, he has no idea what the guy's talking about, but the quest was complete. He already had the material. He wants to know when the hell that happened, and Humphrey explains. It dropped when they killed the very first slime. It was one of the first items to fall. Skim asks why he didn't say anything sooner, and Humphrey replies, because you're trash. Anyway, here we are. He's now at the forge using top-tier metal. He tells the kid to brace himself. When high-quality material meets a true master, you get a miracle. He says he's gonna sweat over this forge and make something legendary. And just like that, he says it's done. Kim looks at him. You're not even sweating, man. That took 10 seconds. Still, once he inspects the gloves, they were made using the drop from an extremely rare boss. And now the kid's fully geared up. He may look thinner and a bit weaker, sure, but it's fine. It's a light armor set, level 36, requires 34 agility to equip, and has a 1% chance to trigger the Heaven and Earth Destruction skill. Humphrey says he's not charging anything this time. No need to thank him. It'd just be gross anyway. Kim just shrugs and says, good. I wasn't planning to thank a bastard like you either. But right then, someone activates PK mode and points a sword straight at him. And not just points, it nearly lands a hit. Kim jumps back, shocked, and wants to know why this guy just attacked him out of nowhere. The dude with glasses says it's impressive that he was fast enough to dodge that. Clearly, he must be the person who left his lady on the brink of death. Kim gets ready to defend himself, saying he only dodged because of his agility stat, but decides to switch the subject. What do you mean your lady? What's this about? The butler cuts him off, telling him to stop pretending. He checked. Her last party member was someone named Gim Chalsu. He charges again, saying Kim must know the name Catherine very well. And that's when it clicks. Kim starts to remember. That was his first real buddy from the very beginning. The chubby one. The one who was with the little dwarf guy. He quickly tells the man to hold up. He has no idea what she told him, but he was the one who got dragged into all that. He was the victim. The butler scoffs at that. Funny how you're calling yourself the victim when you're out here living just fine. While she's been in a coma, in a vegetative state, ever since that day. That one actually stuns Kim for real. He knew the level 80 Geiger's attack would have done serious damage, but he didn't think she would literally die from it. He yells that it was the Geiger's fault, not his. He didn't do anything wrong. But the butler says Kim doesn't get to decide whether he's guilty or not. What matters is that because of that incident, the entire Semyon group's succession line is now in total chaos. And yet, when the guy landed that last strike, it did 0 damage. Kim's confused. He looks at him and says, okay, maybe we can talk this out from the top, because clearly that girl was the daughter of some big-time CEO or something, huh? That girl's family, that Semyon group, just from how it sounds, you can already guess, right? It's basically Samsung. In Korea, Samsung owns everything: phones, electronics, semiconductors, cars, motorcycles, planes, you name it. They're all over the world. And now he realizes he's standing right in front of the daughter of the person who owns all of that. The butler wants to know, but she really get attacked by a level 80 creature in the dungeon? Kim says he thinks that's what happened. Probably one of those shock incidents or something like that. Then the butler asks, then how the hell did you make it out alive, huh? Weren't you just level 3? She was almost level 40 and that happened to her. So how are you still in one piece? Our boy comes clean and explains the whole thing. Says he got a secret class out of nowhere and managed to escape. Said it was pure luck. But deep down he knows that kind of thing no doctor can fix it. You can bring in as many people as you want and nothing's gonna change. If she's in that state, then someone like him, who was level 3 at the time, would have been dead on the spot. The guy with the glasses says it's unbelievable that a level 3 walked away unharmed just because of a class change. He knows even secret classes aren't that powerful. Kim doesn't really have a good explanation. All he knows is the chances of her ever coming back are really slim. Then the guy tells him to just keep quiet. He better understand. They already brought in the best doctors around, and they all said the same thing. Nobody knows when she's gonna wake up, and from the looks of it, there's nothing anyone can do. Wait, what? I thought he was gonna argue or push back or something, but no, that's all we got. Just that miserable answer. Kim said he knows the only thing they can do now is wait until she wakes up. But like, she got hurt in game, so why aren't they trying to heal her in the game too? The guy glances over, adjusts his glasses, and tells him to go on. Kim starts talking about a case in the US, something similar, where everyone thought a person would have to retire. The family had already given up, but then right when it seemed like the person was knocking on heaven's door, they suddenly woke up. What the hell? Kim totally made that story up. But why is he doing that? Oh right, because he's the damn goblin. He's after these people's money. He says the chances of something like that happening are 1 in 9.9 million. Where is he even getting these numbers from? Then he grabs the butler's hand and says that even if the odds are that low, trying something is still better than just sitting around waiting for a miracle. Yeah, he's lying through his teeth just to cash in. because that girl straight up lied to him too. The guy stares him down, but Kim holds his ground. Another glare. Now he's sweating bullets, staring off into the distance. And here we are. Look who just showed up, our tough little coma girl. Kim's in shock. Can't believe they actually let an unconscious girl log into the game. These lunatics are clearly desperate. The problem now is, if they find out he made all this up, he's definitely getting killed. What the hell can he even do in the game to help this crazy girl regain consciousness? Clearly impossible. He's never heard of anything like that. But at the very least, he'll be the one who tried to save her. He just has to give it everything he's got. That massive corporation's gonna owe him big time. If she wakes up, great. If she doesn't, he really couldn't care less. He strokes his chin and says he'll do his best to save the little princess. He's gonna let some time pass, then walk up to them and say, "Y'all might want to sit down for this news." There it is. He'll break the news, get a bunch of praise, score some serious cash, flawless plan. But there's just one problem. What's he supposed to do with this girl's avatar if she can't even walk? Then he remembers, human avatars, right? If you pull them forward, it'll fall down. That's when he gets an idea. Ties a leash around her neck. And now look at this goblin boy driving her around like a slave. He didn't expect it would get this much attention though. People are already whispering about it, talking about how this guy's using a goblin to carry a girl around, calling him the worst player ever, saying he deserves to die. He tries to calm everyone down, saying he'd never do something like that he's close to the girl. But then the mustached guy chimes in, says now he's the one who feels close to our boy and really feels like beating the crap out of him. Kim instantly realizes, yep, once again, his reputation in the city is going straight down the drain. Then someone calls out to him. Oh no, not again. Here comes that damn old con artist. In the alley, our boy mutters that he never thought he'd run into Sungreal again, the persuasive. But the old man snaps, says his name is the cunning, damn it. And now he's figured it out. It was Kim who summoned the goblin. Kim just shrugs and says he did what he had to do to get out of a jam. Then he wants to know, what's the Avton Guild doing in the area? What are they planning? Sungreal tells him to relax. The guild doesn't always move together. Players are usually scattered, and that time, everyone just happened to be gathered to finish a raid. Our boy remembers this bastard's got a lot of info, so he demands he spill something about the guild. But Sungreal tells him to keep it down. There's a better place for him to get information about Florendal. If he really wants it, just head over that way. But it's obvious there's a catch. He's clearly got 2 C4s and a laser trap set right on the path. And sure enough, someone already got the crap beaten out of them there, saying they didn't even learn much about Florendal anyway. All they really know is that this raid only shows up when players meet certain conditions. The old guy, though, wants to know why the kid's already so interested in the raid. He literally just got to this city. He's noticed it. Every single time, the boy's always in a rush, running back and forth like he's got somewhere to be. Kim says it's obvious. He wants money. And the money? That's with the stronger monsters, in the more dangerous places. Of course, he's got to take advantage while his bug's still active, right? Once they take away his goblin, he's screwed. The old man explains that, look, he just got here. Even if he wants to charge ahead, there are steps that need to be followed. And the next step, speaking of which, is in the city of Phoenix, Elbasar. That's where you pick up the main quest to keep progressing, and there's a ton of high-level players there too. Weirdly enough, Kim immediately lights up, yelling that that's exactly what he's after. The main quest, high-level stuff, the whole deal. So he better speak up and say where it is. The guy gives him the location, and Kim just slams him to the ground and tells the goblin they're heading out. But that's when he notices, wait a sec, where's the girl the goblin was supposed to be driving along? The look on his face, man, total panic. In some alley, 2 creeps are hanging around talking about how the gear, and what's under the gear, looks pretty nice. Stick bastards trying to sound poetic about it. They think she just went off to the bathroom or something and clearly believe she won't be able to resist anything they're about to do. While they're getting closer, practically drooling, Kim runs over yelling that she's unconscious. Even the smallest hit could kill her. In his head, he remembers getting a call from Glasses Guy asking if she's okay. He says, yeah, she's safe. The guy wants to see her. He says not right now, he's in the middle of a super important mission. The guy insists. Kim snaps, tells him to shut it already. Bye, done. Some guy standing next to the man in the suit asks what's wrong, and the dude apologizes. Wait, hold up. That guy? He's the president of Samsung. Big boss of everything. Numbers Kamoon mate 76. And he says don't worry about it. The kid's probably just nervous, scared out of his mind about putting her in danger. His assistant, though, wants to know why he let someone like that take control of her body in the first place. If it were actually possible to heal her in the game, then fine, but he better be doing that. Kamoon answers that the kid's clearly just pulling that idea out of thin air. There's no way something like that could work. He's just counting on something happening with Catherine. And that's because, back when she was a kid, her fate was already locked in. She was going to inherit the company. This game was the only thing she ever chose for herself, the only decision she ever truly made. That's why he believes this world is like paradise for her, or at the very least, somewhere she felt free. And he knows it's better for her to be resting there than stuck in a hospital bed. What a soft dad. Meanwhile, our boy is out here running around, trying to bring this girl back to life. Well, trying is a strong word. He's mostly faking it. He's exhausted and wondering why they even programmed this trash lung system into the game. On top of that, finding her is gonna be a nightmare. Then he remembers when he gave up his head and took shelter with that elf, he got goblin point. He decides to take a look at his skills, and one of them is life sharing. He could use his own health to restore a bit of the goblins. Useless at the moment. But then he notices another skill, goblin throw. Yeah, the name's pretty self-explanatory. So he uses goblin summon, grabs the goblin in his hand, and launches him. The little guy soars over the entire city and instantly points in one direction. Bingo! The rascal knows where Catherine is, and now Kim is sprinting over, foaming at the mouth, yelling that he's here to save the day. But he runs straight into the two creeps in the alley who want to know what he's doing there. Right away, one of them comments that he's even uglier up close. And besides, they're the ones who are gonna take care of her and make her feel good. Kim tells them to screw off. He's not here to make her feel good in any way. So who the hell are these two losers? The one with the mustache smirks and says they're two very handsome guys whose favorite hobby is rescuing women in danger. Kim tells the creeps to quit acting like heroes when they're the ones putting her in danger. But before he can even finish, the guys lunge at him. Kim instantly loses it, and just like that, it's over. The two of them are lying dead on the ground, taken out by the goblin. Now he's mocking them, asking how it feels for two so-called handsome dudes to get their asses kicked by an ugly guy. He's laughing like a maniac when a soldier shows up nearby, wondering what all the ruckus is about. And there's Kim, tongue sticking out, dragging Catherine along with him. The guard shows up right away, demanding to know why they killed two people and were in the middle of kidnapping a woman. No way they were walking away from a crime like that in this city without consequences. Kim tries to calm him down, says he was the one who got attacked first and this whole thing isn't fair. But deep down he knows there's no way this guard is gonna believe a word he says. And if he gets caught now, he'll be tossed into jail, and he doesn't have time for that. Luckily, there's only one guard around, so maybe now's the perfect time to take him out and bolt. But suddenly, Sanrio grabs him by the shoulder and says he'd been looking for the kid. Kim snaps at the lying bastard to get lost and demands to know what he's doing there. The old man warns him that if he kills a guard like this, he'll be hunted down by NPCs for the rest of his life, so he better think twice. Then Sanrio walks over to the guard and starts sweet-talking him, thanking him for all this hard work protecting the people. The guard, of course, immediately gets suspicious, wants to know who he is, what he's plotting, and tells him to keep his hands where he can see them. But the old guy uses a charm ability, kind of a bribe for NPCs, and slips him some coins to boost the relationship meter. The guard's hesitant, asking if he's seriously offering that much money. The old man says yep, and the guy grabs him, demanding to know why he's trying to buy off an honest man. His relationship level takes a nosedive right away, since bribery is still a crime. Kim, however, realizes that somehow the old man basically got himself arrested in his place, and the path is now clear. Turns out that lying bastard actually did something decent for once, but now standing in front of this massive building, Kim wants to know why the hell he can't go in. He heard that the main quest was inside. While he's complaining, this blonde guy outside the place tells him not to bother. That door hasn't budged in a while. Kim asks who he is, and the guy introduces himself as Shin. He says that just watching Kim casually knocking on that door makes it obvious. He's new in town. He says he likes the kid's eyes, though. They've got that real adventurer's intensity. And since that's the case, why not help out in some lost ruins? Kim's already furiously mashing the skip button, hoping to shut this guy up. That's when he receives the main quest. Show me your skills. He has to bring back the core of a golem from these ruins to prove what he can do. Now, arms crossed, Kim mutters that this NPC's hilarious. Could have at least mentioned what kind of dungeon it is. Turns out it's a dodging type dungeon, not the kind where you just go in and kill everything. Still, with his max agility, it shouldn't be too hard. The real problem is that he's dragging this girl with him. He's got to make it through without ever taking even a scratch of damage. So he tells the goblin to stay behind with her while he dashes ahead and uses rally. He gets ready, kicks off running, and before you know it, bam, he's already on the other side. Super fast. He activates the rally memory and the goblin comes flying over. That little dude lands all smiles, tongue flapping out. But just like I figure, right? The rope goes taut, she's still tied to it. And poor Catherine, man, I'm already feeling sorry for her, is starting to get yanked along. Kim shouts for the goblin to do something, anything, before she falls into the lava. She's inches away from slamming into one of the ceiling blades, and our boy's practically panicking. She ends up flat on her back on the ground, completely wrecked. Right away, he runs to her, calling out her name, telling her to get up. She cannot die here, not in a place like this. If she does, he's totally screwed. And from the looks of it, we're about to take a deep dive into her memories. Back in her memory, her father, Kimun, is demanding to know why she came home late again and whether she was out with that group of so-called friends. He tells her that, at her age, friends don't mean a damn thing. They're worthless people she'll forget about one day. And on top of that, he saw her leave wearing a short skirt and makeup that made her look like some kind of night worker. So apparently she's decided she wants to live like human trash. Geez, that was brutal. She's crying, apologizing, but her father just says that today she's going to learn a lesson. She looks to her mom for help, but all she gets is a cold stare and silence. Then her dad tells her she's the only failure in his entire life. God damn, that hit hard. I actually felt bad for the girl. She's just stuck there, frozen. Our boy turns to the goblin and asks, what the hell do we do now? Weirdly enough, the goblin suggests that he's never gonna find another chick as hot as this one, so maybe he should try waking her up with a little mouth-to-mouth. What the hell? But Kid knows this is just a game. There's no real air or physics. There's no way that would actually work. It was impossible from the start. Still, I mean, she's kinda already deadish, so might as well try, right? At best, it might just jolt her mentally and force her to snap back. But of course, that's exactly when the butler shows up, right as Kim's making that stupid kissy face. And immediately, he's like, now I see what you were really after. You little creep. I'm gonna kill you. Kim panics and tells him to calm down. She's fine. There's nothing to worry about. She's not gonna die. The butler replies, obviously. He's logged into the game 24/7, keeping an eye on her. Not to mention, there's a whole team of doctors surrounding her body IRL. And on top of all that, her equipment is the best available at her level. That white spider magic dress may look soft, but its defense is comparable to steel. The whole reason he logged in was just to make sure this disgusting goblin kid wouldn't lay a finger on her while she was unconscious. He's about to say something else, but Kim just cuts him off with a screw you and hangs up. Then he turns to the goblin like, you heard that right? Her armor cancels out 90% of incoming damage. So the two of them take off running, being chased by a giant boulder, while they're using the girl like a skateboard. They're throwing her across gaps on a rope, making her tank hits from golems, swinging her like a whip. At one point, Kim realizes he got way too excited and literally used her as a projectile. On the bright side, he treated her like garbage and earned a goblin point for it. While he's standing there amazed by how multifunctional she is, her finger twitches, just a tiny bit. But of course, right then the goblin launches an attack, the room explodes, and the little guy goes flying right through, smacks the golem with a huge 999 hit. Kim doesn't even look surprised anymore. He just mutters that all he has to do now is grab the core and be done with it. But no, the golem rebuilds itself and enters phase 2. Kim shrugs it off like, whatever, and tells Gobletato to hit it again. Another 999. He goes, finally, that's gotta be it. Nope, the damn thing pulls itself together again and goes into phase 3. Kim's like, please, I'm begging you. Could you cheat just a little less? He uses the goblin's rally ability and calls him again. But weirdly, this time the goblin takes the hit before landing his attack. Everything explodes behind Kim, and now he's sprinting full speed, while the golem slams the ground, lighting everything on fire. He already knows unless he destroys that core, the thing's just gonna keep shifting into new phases. That's when he remembers that bastard Sunreal explaining monster weaknesses the other day. The problem? He doesn't have any way to target specific weak points like the Vilton Guild guys do. Maybe his best bet is just to beat the absolute hell out of everything until it eventually dies. While he's zigzagging through the dungeon trying to dodge attacks, he ends up running right past Catherine. Poor thing's just standing there, totally out of it, and unfortunately, he dodges, but the golem's punch is heading straight for her face. The moment it hit her, she felt the exact same sensation as when she got crushed by that boss, and just like that, she woke up screaming. The room exploded and Kim bit his fingers in panic, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. He was pretty sure it was fine. It wasn't a super high damage hit or anything. Shouldn't have been fatal. But the boss kept slamming the ground and was now straight up devouring its own arm, as if it didn't know what was going on either. And then, she stood up. And not just stood up, towering, enormous presence. Immediately, she starts shouting, demanding to know what the hell is going on, what this place is, who he is, and why the hell she's there. Turns out she triggered her mage skill, escape. And now she wants answers fast. Kim's frozen. She really woke up. Only issue now is what happens when she remembers she was used as a skateboard. But hey, who cares? She's alive, she's standing. That's what matters most. He just saved the heir to the Samsung group. He's about to get a reward the size of a small country. So he walks over all bent up, trying to explain the situation. Tells her she lost consciousness after being attacked by a monster in a hidden dungeon, and that he got permission from the president himself to help wake her up. He worked his butt off and he pulled it off. Then she socks him mid-sentence and he crashes through a wall. Still groaning on the ground, he's like, really? You couldn't give me a heads up before punching me like that. But then he sees her, already far away, running off, leaving him behind. She's in full-on panic mode, crying and shouting that she's scared. If her dad finds out she went back into Heaven's Gate and kept playing, she's going to be literally killed for real. As she's yelling in sheer panic, suddenly, she wakes up in the hospital. The butler rushes in, asking what's going on, and the doctors explain that she seems to be regaining consciousness, but she's extremely agitated. The butler instantly thinks of our boy and is certain he did something awful. The medical team considers cutting the power to the pod to snap her out of it, but another doctor says no way, that could make her black out again. The butler shuts that down completely, saying not to even think about it. Since pain and sensations are tied to reality, it's way too dangerous, especially if she's in the middle of a dungeon. So he decides to log in and find out exactly where Kim is. Back inside the ruin, the golem is firing stone missiles right at her. She turns, panicking, thinking this is it, she's dead. But right on time, the goblin jumps in and shields her. Kim shouts at her to stop trying to run. There's no way she can outrun a golem. But she's collapsed on the ground, shaking, crying, repeating, "I'm scared, I'm scared." Kim's completely confused. What the hell is going on with this girl? Before things spiral even more, he knows he needs to deal with it. You think he'd go finish off the boss, but no. He actually tells the goblin to knock her out. But then his expression changes. She looks up at him and begs for help. She says she doesn't know what kind of connection he has with her father or the company, but she swears she'll pay him way more than whatever her dad promised if he helps her. He answers instantly, of course he'll help. They're going to get out of there safe and sound. Just tell him what she wants. But while he might be having fun, she definitely isn't. She says this isn't a joke. She doesn't care how. She just wants to be out of this place. She begs him to kill everyone around her. She wants to get far away from that group, all of them. The awful people, the employees, all of it. Kim's just standing there, a bit shaken. She's crying, saying she's tired of being hit. And just as the goblin's about to knock her out with a blow to the back of the neck, a call comes in from the butler. He's yelling through the comms, telling the bastard to show her right now. He's coming in to get that girl out of there. Kim immediately tells the goblin to stop what he's doing and hold off the golem instead. Then he turns to the butler and asks how the hell he still doubts him this much. He was hired fair and square. He throws a cocky little smile at the girl and says, "Whatever I'm doing, she looks like she's enjoying it." Kim insists he's not kidnapping her. This was just part of helping her recover. She was doing fine, so there's no need to panic. The butler, confused, doesn't understand what's going on. She didn't seem even remotely conscious, so maybe that earlier reaction was just a seizure or something. He tells Kim that she doesn't seem stable, and if he's in a dungeon, he better get out now. Plus, it's time to end the agreement. They want the girl back. Kim immediately pushes back like, no way, not happening. He says he's in a critical moment right now, but the call cuts off. He mutters that she better be honest about that money she promised, but she admits it was a lie. She doesn't have that kind of cash. Meanwhile, the goblin's still in the thick of it. Kim says she better hand over every coin she's got or he'll sell her back to her Groot for the reward. Crying, she begs him to calm down. She'll sell everything, even her gear, just please don't tell anyone. He snaps that her gear isn't worth even 6,000, but then she says it's worth 100 million. That's when they both turn and tell the goblin, all right, time to go legit. But for some reason, the goblin is already in stage 5, level 170. Kim is freaking out. Why the hell did this thing grow 4 arms? It was supposed to kill, not level up. He's now running for his life because he knows if that monster even lands one hit, they're all dead. Suddenly, a frost attack hits him and locks up his whole body. He's frozen in place, confused, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Of course, it was Catherine. She tells him she can't hold on for long, but that spell should be enough for them to escape. And just like that, she takes off running too. Now all 3 of them are making a break for the exit, but there's a rope in the way. Catherine gets snagged by the neck, hits the ground, and the goblin closes in. She cries out for help. That thing's level 170. There's no way she'll survive if it hits her. Right then, Kim sees something different. Back when he left her to die to that monster, it was because he was weak. But now he doesn't have a choice. He has to save her. But he's not a hero. If he takes a hit from one of these things, there's no doctor, no money waiting to patch him up. He'll just die in a hospital bed, and no one will ever know what happened. So he says goodbye. Catherine watches him turn his back and sees it. He's acting just like her mother did, abandoning her. In that moment, it's clear. No one in this world has ever truly seen her. Explosion. Her body lights up with an impact. Oh, hell no. Her arms all torn up, shredded. Damn it. I thought it was our boy who saved her. But no, it was that NPC Shin. And he congratulates Kim, saying he did an incredible job holding out this long. Also, turns out the guy holds the title of God. Now Kim finally understands how this dungeon works. Basically, the moment someone's about to be defeated, this NPC shows up to save them. That's how the whole system functions. The point was, this mission was impossible from the very start. That's why the boss was level 170. The Golem Core probably doesn't even exist. You just keep fighting endlessly, and the boss would keep evolving stage after stage. Back when he took that huge punch and got flown across the room, he should have realized he didn't feel any real pain. It was all part of the scripted setup. Shin turns to the golem and scolds it for harming his subordinate. Kim's just happy the damn guy showed up at all. He rushes forward, ready for round 2, telling Shin to brace himself for what's about to happen. But suddenly, something explodes right next to him. He looks over, and Shin's standing there, dusting himself off like it was nothing. Says it wasn't even enough to warm him up. Kim's stunned. He has no idea how this bastard is staying so calm. He lunges again, only to take another slap to the head and crash to the ground. And that's when he finally notices this so-called God NPC. He's only level 70. It all makes sense now. This place was designed for players between level 30 and 40. So yeah, when a level 70 guy shows up, he basically is a god. The golem was never supposed to go beyond level 45, but our boy went and used his goblin, and now he's turned the thing into an unstoppable monster. Shin stands back up again, repeating that this creature isn't even good enough for a warm-up. That's when Kim realizes the NPC's stuck on a dialogue loop. He's immortal, so he can't die, but he also can't kill the golem. They're locked in a loop. But maybe Maybe when Shin materialized, he also triggered the goblin's core. And now, for the first time, this thing might actually be killable. All Kim has to do is figure out exactly where Shin's aiming his attacks. Shin lunges again, striking at the golem's core. Kim jumps in too, trying to go for it, takes another hit. But no, the goblin tosses a boulder from across the room, finishes it off. Shin still throws out one last line saying that monster really wasn't even a warm-up. If he hadn't been there, everyone would be dead. Good thing he arrived in time to save everyone. Kim, though, he's not celebrating. He's still thinking about whether Catherine was actually saved. But then he spots her, standing quietly off to the side. She's alive. The two of them are now outside the dungeon, and the NPC turns to him, saying he's noticed some talent in the kid. Sure, he had to save him, but the potential's definitely there. Kim, though, just wants to crawl into a hole. Leaving Catherine back there like that, it was way worse than what she did to him, tricking him at the start to get him killed. The NPC keeps talking, filling the silence, and Kim's grateful for that, at least. Then Shin turns to go, telling them not to think about him too much. He exists on a higher plane. He walks away and stops at a certain spot, waiting to accept the next mission. And now silence. Kim stands there, awkwardly glancing over at Catherine. He finally musters the courage and says, "Okay, what happened back there was my fault." But just then, her father shows up. He says, "Looks like she's finally awake." Kim has no idea who this guy is, but his aura is on a whole other level. Either he's filthy rich or insanely powerful. Catherine immediately reacts, asking why her father is even here. Kamoon tells her he knew she was conscious the moment she had that convulsion. She's had him worried sick day and night, and yet here she is, pretending to be an adult, wasting time playing this stupid game, dragging everyone down. He turns to Kim and thanks him for taking such good care of her. Says it looks like his promise to wake her up really came true. He'll receive a generous reward, and they'll be in touch soon. Then Kamoon reaches out his hand and tells Catherine to come with him. The whole mood turns heavy. Kim's angry at her for being such a mess. But she isn't even mad at him. She's not yelling, not blaming him for abandoning her. She's just walking away. With this look like she's heading straight into hell. Why isn't she asking for help again? Why isn't she begging to be saved? Kim knows the answer. Because you prove he's not someone worth relying on. Not someone you trust. But maybe, just maybe, this time he can save her. And so he shouts, "Wait, both of you stop." Even someone like him knows exactly who that man is. President Han Kamoon, head of the Samsung Group. Famous for being kind, compassionate, a role model. He turns to Catherine and asks, "Right? Isn't that true? But if that's the case, then why does she look like she's about to die? Why is it that when someone so admired is taking her away, she looks more broken than ever?" He grabs her by the arm and says she's coming with him, and demands to know what Kamoon's going to do about it. But all of that, it's just a dream, a fantasy. He's not actually doing any of it. He just stands there, watching her leave, and deep down he knows there's no saving her. Not by someone like him. He's always been the guy who breaks promises, a coward like no other. He doesn't even expect to save himself. So what the hell is he doing dreaming about being a hero? Kim Chulsu. He's just going to be a goblin for the rest of his life. The knights nearby are whispering among themselves. Is that really the Great Knight King? The one who was part of the trio that took down the Duke? Everyone starts shouting and cheering for Knight Kamoon. Then someone asks, out loud, "Hey, who's that hot babe next to him?" Like they literally said that, out loud. And Kamoon just replies coolly, "She's just someone I'm grouped with for now." Then he turns to Catherine and tells her to really think about how people see him and how they see her. She needed to understand the shame it would bring if anyone ever found out she was his daughter. People pass by, shouting his name like he's royalty, while Kim just stands there frozen. Someone shoves past him like, "Hey, why are you blocking the road?" And he just stands there thinking. So it's true. She really was the precious daughter of that guy. But even with all the crap she's gone through, it couldn't possibly be worse than his own life. So why does he feel guilty? He should forget about all of this. He hasn't even paid rent this month, for crying out loud. Suddenly, a voice comes up from the sewer. It's Sungreal, calling out that something big just happened in town. Our boy's spooked, like, what the hell is that scumbag doing here? The old man explains that when he got arrested by the guards, he managed to escape. But now he's being hunted, so he's living underground. Literally. Still, it's not that bad, he says. When women walk by, he sees things that you just can't see from above ground. Kim immediately realizes this guy's a criminal, a full-on creep. But the old man keeps going. That girl standing next to the president, she didn't look like a teammate. She looked hurt. Kim's still off balance, asking who he's talking about. Whoever it was, maybe she just got injured fighting. Who knows? But the old man says, "No, you're not getting it. In the game, all the pain signals are sent to the brain. Your real body doesn't get touched." He explains that from where he was watching, he could see things from a different angle. That girl had signs of physical abuse, real-world injuries. Kim stops. He goes silent for a second, then yells out toward Kamoon. Tells that bastard to stop right there. Says it's pathetic watching someone like him kidnap someone in broad daylight, right in front of everybody. He's a disgrace. Kamoon calmly turns and says he has no idea what the boy's talking about. But he should be careful throwing accusations like that. It could cause misunderstandings. Kim mocks him, repeats his words in a fake polite tone, then straight up calls him out, Stop pretending to be a good guy just because you're the president of some massive company. It's obvious. He's not the kind of man who follows the law. And then, oh boy, Kim says it. He claims that the girl beside him is his girlfriend. Even Catherine is stunned, and Kim just keeps going, saying they already did this and that other thing too. Everyone nearby starts murmuring. If that were true, it would be a full-on scandal. Some are skeptical though, no proof, so it must be fake news, right? And besides, Kim doesn't even flinch. Not a single emotion on his face. He calmly replies that the boy must be confusing him with someone else, and that he's in a hurry, so he'll be leaving now. But Kim steps forward again, telling him not to move. If she's not your girlfriend, then what is she to you? What kind of guy goes around teaming up with a girl wearing revealing clothes like that? A dirty old man, that's who. It's weird, right? An older guy hanging around a young girl like that. People around them start whispering, saying, yeah, it is kind of peculiar. At the very least, it's not normal. Kim just sighs and says it's not even worth responding to. He turns to leave again. But then, someone steps in. Oh no, of course. It's that sly bastard Sungreal again. He steps forward and announces himself as Patrick Sungreal, a loyal employee of the Samsung Group. And when he heard that Catherine, the legitimate heir to the company, was here, he rushed over immediately. He kneels down, takes her hands gently, and says she truly is the future of the corporation. He's deeply relieved to know that she's safe. Catherine has no idea what's going on. She's just standing there, totally confused, and everyone around is murmuring, trying to make sense of it too. Was that girl really the president's daughter? But if that's true, how the hell are they supposed to trust the entire company to someone like her? And what's the logic here anyway? The guy just said she was just someone he teamed up with. None of it adds up. But one thing's clear, things are looking bad for Kim. Kim walks up beside him and casually says, you might as well admit it, idiot. She's your daughter. The only way out now is to own up. Say he made some mistakes raising her. At least that could be spun into a scandal with a recovery arc. And if he does that, Kim promises, he'll act like he's insane and doesn't even know who she is. But if he doesn't cooperate, then Kim's gonna expose exactly what's really going on between them. Kim glares at him, then coldly asks, and what do you think your words are worth? He stomps his foot, and his voice booms across the plaza. Don't let yourselves be deceived by a liar like this one. Kim's stunned. What the hell kind of ability was that? His voice echoed through the whole damn city. Kim then announces that the man dressed as a butler has no affiliation with his company, and that the girl on the ground is just someone he met today. He says the two of them are conspiring to ruin his reputation, but he's Han Kim, the true head of the Sunyan Group. And right here, right now, he's going to execute all three of them for what they've done. Bro, he activates PK mode and says he's gonna show everyone exactly what happens to someone who pretends to have a connection with him. That's what happens. He's going to get a like on this video that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.